to another episode of Kicking It in the Second Half. KISH YZ, I am D. This is Groot. What up, Hugh?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
I can't hear you.
I hope everybody's having a good night.
Great. Hugh, you know what we're going to talk about today, bro?
Yeah, I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is episode 14. We're going to talk about the top 10 underrated players in the league as of right now. What's today's date, Hubert?
No idea.
Give it to us quick.
The
It's April
5th?
5th going into April 6th, 2021. We're going to start this off. It's going to be a two-parter. This is part one. We're going to list down 10 through 6. Are you ready to start this off here? You want to say any words before we get going? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm happy that we were able to come together and agree on a list.
Yeah, this is going to be a one-off list. So we both decided on the players that go on this list. I guess we kind of decided together on the particular order that we did as far as where they're at and how they're listed. You know, maybe we had more say over one than the other on some of the rankings, but overall, we did this list together. We were going to do just a top 5, and then, you know, names kept popping up and floating around, so we decided to do a top 10. So let's get cracking on it, Hugh. Coming in number 10, Bam Adebayo out of the Miami Heat.
Yeah, you can touch on Bam first if you want.
I'll touch on Bam. Yeah, I think Bam's underrated because of his passing game. If you go back and look, I think I just saw something in action when I was trying to find out a little bit more information on something, and it just popped up with his name related about when he played for Kentucky that Coach Calipari just basically wanted him to catch lobs, and that's what he did. He did it very well, and I think that's why, you know, Miami drafted him because of, you know, what he can do on the boards and with rebounding, and then, you know, catching lobs. He has great hands, but we've seen his role as a player kind of expand, and he's got that passing game. He's got that modern big man game going on that makes him really versatile. And, you know, last year he became an all-star, and this year he wasn't an all-star. I mean, right there alone kind of puts him in the category for me as that underrated type of player, especially after coming off of the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, this is maybe one of those subjects that I would blame on playoff fatigue, as far as maybe how he started out the season versus where we expect him to be at as far as playing level and playing ability.
Yeah. I don't have too much to add on what you said. You know, his stats are really good. He reminds me of Gobert when we did the PPF about Rudy Gobert. He just kind of come in and does his job. Like nothing to me jumps out crazy like some other guys on this list. But I mean, he's just a guy who comes in, puts up good numbers, and does what he's asked of him. And his team you know, plays around him, and they play really well when he's playing well, and just an important person on that team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what you just mentioned as far as him being reminiscent of not Carl Anthony Towns, good grief, Rudy Gobert. And that's the thing. That's kind of what makes him overrated for me, is that's not just what he is. He's not just that type of role player. He's actually a franchise type of guy, in my opinion. I mean, he's not even in his prime as far as his age, and he's already got one All-Star year under his belt. So yeah, look for this guy to continue to build upon his game. And, you know, the numbers are going to definitely show it, and they're going to get better, but he's got more. He's going to go in. You know, once the NBA gets back to a regular schedule and he's able to add more to his game, he's going in for sure, bro. For sure. Let's go to number 9. We got Darren Fox. You want to hit that first?
Yeah, I'll hit him first. So, like, just reading off his stat line this season, here's how it is, right? 24.5 points a game, 3.2 rebounds, over 7 assists, about 2 3-pointers made, a steal and a half a block a game. I mean, those are good numbers. I had no idea that he was putting up those good numbers. You know, the assists surprised me, 7 assists. I knew he was putting up points, but it's about 25 a game, a steal and a half a block. So, I mean, even impressive on the defensive side. But I think
Let me just fill this in for you. I just saw a highlight on TV here. They just lost today's game against the Timberwolves, but he put up 31 points and 9 assists.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's impressive. But yeah, I've heard of him some this year. I know he's balling. I think his biggest thing is that he plays on Sacramento, and nobody really seems to care at all about Sacramento. They're a team you like never ever hear about. So I think if he was on a bigger market team or a team that was having success, he'd be talked about a lot more, I think. So I do really think he is underappreciated and undervalued, mainly because he plays in Sacramento, is my opinion.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Zach LaVine, the last few years, maybe except for this year, with him being an all-star this year, as far as getting lost on the team because they're not that well known or recognized as often as some of the other markets or bigger franchises. But I also had in my notes as far as Darren Fox. I think, yeah, he's definitely underrated with the numbers. But I think one of the factors for that this upcoming year as well is the emergence of Tyrese Haliburton. He's not on this list, but I just wanted to add him in as a name. I think the situation almost makes it seem like, is Darren Fox still going to be the lead guy, or Tyrese Haliburton is kind of going to be the face of the franchise? I mean, right now we can see that it is Darren Fox's team. Hopefully it stays that way, but I would be intrigued to see this team, those two guys in particular, become the next John Wall and Bradley Beal pairing. As far as John Wall was the face of the franchise, and then they added Beal, and those two guys, headlined everything for the Wizards. And I can see that happening here. But yeah, Darren Fox definitely needs to make an all-star appearance, and he does on most of the times play at an all-star level when he comes to the numbers. But we just need a little bit more consistency. But yeah, he's in the Western Conference, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's
You
move on
mean
to
go to
number
8?
8. We got number 8. You want to announce number 8?
Nah, you can.
Okay, number 8, we got Devin Booker. Devin Booker, I got in my notes like 2 words: scoring machine, because that's what he is. We've seen him put up, what was his career high again? I'm sorry, Mike, I don't remember the number for you offhand, but a huge amount of points. What was it, Hugh? 70 something? Was it
Yeah,
70?
I think it
Something
was.
like that. I'm sorry, I don't have the number, but you're the stats guy, so I usually don't come in too heavy with the stats. But yeah, this guy, he can just score, and we've seen him, another guy, being on a team that over the last several years, with the exception of this year, just kind of getting lost as far as not being in a huge market. The franchise not getting a lot of love from the press, and people not talking about it too often unless you're a big fan of Devin Booker himself or a big fan of the Phoenix Suns. Shout out to the Tavern Geek. But yeah, he's just somebody that you want to talk about that can put up numbers quick in a hurry and have huge performances. And he's still very, very young. He's made an all-star team this year, and he's won a 3-point contest. I mean, this guy's got accolades already, and he's just growing his game. But I think he's underappreciated. What we saw last year in the bubble was not a fluke when they won 8-0, and this guy was carrying the team. Now this year, you might not hear as much from him in comparison to where he left us after the last season because of getting the slow start at the beginning of the season, and Chris Paul kind of helping a lot to contribute to the wins of the team. But this guy moving forward, whether or not he stays with the Phoenix Suns, hopefully for the Suns' sake, or he's elsewhere, this guy's going to make a huge impact. But he's already doing that. So underrated.
Yeah, yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, he's a scoring machine is a great way to put that. I mean, the guy's crazy. Um, he's yeah, he's just an amazing scorer. Yeah, his career highs still to this day extremely impressive. I think it's nuts that he wasn't originally voted into the All-Star game. How he had to be a fill-in. I just think it's uh kind of disrespectful, and shows how underappreciated and undervalued he is. But yeah, I mean, Phoenix in the number 2 spot in the West, and a lot of that is because of Devin Booker. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to it's hard. I just feel bad for Booker. Like, he kind of reminds me of Dame. It's just like no matter what he does, like he's never good enough. Like, people always doubt him, and people never put him up there at the top. And I feel for the guy.
Yeah, it's just like I said, being in that franchise. He's somebody that has that Kobe mentality and that way of willing to be able to score from wherever on the court and get the job done. But speaking of which, that segues me into number 7. We have Brandon Ingram. For me, I describe him as a guy that is like Kobe, but minus the mentality. Right now, he doesn't have that killer's mentality for me quite yet, but he's got the game to definitely be on that level. I think he just needs to add a little bit more to it. But he's on the team where he's still trying to, fill in as far as what his actual role is and the consistency of that. I mean, last year we saw a big breakout for him. He definitely made the All-Star, was an All-Star caliber player last year, making the All-Star team in his first appearance. But then again, we had Zion missed like half of his rookie season. So I think he's reacclimating to how they want to run the system with all the guys on the court. And I don't see where him and Zion both couldn't be all-stars simultaneously. But yeah, this guy, not to disrespect Devin Booker, but I want to mention Kobe, as a ceiling as far as being, reminiscent of Kobe, not exactly Kobe, but like I said, this list is overrated. So it's not that he is a better player than Devin Booker at the moment. It's just I feel like he's more underrated than Devin Booker.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. It's crazy to look at his stats next to Devin Booker's. So like if I look at them together, Brandon Ingram's averaging more rebounds, more assists, more 3-pointers made, and more blocks, and he's barely behind in steals a game, and he's only behind Booker by about 1.3 points a game. So I mean, they're basically mimicking the same stat line, which is pretty impressive. You don't hear much from about Brandon Ingram uh back, like how I said with Darren Fox. I think some of that has to do with New Orleans. That's a team you normally don't hear too much about, and when you do hear about New Orleans, usually it's about Zion. So I think Brandon Ingram's kind of overshadowed by Zion there. He's an amazing player, and
Yeah, I
no
mean,
disrespect to
like
Zion, but
like you're touching on as far as the market and it being the Pelicans in New Orleans, if they were in a bigger market, people probably be more so comparing them to a baby version of a young Shaq and a young Kobe being paired together. Because when I mentioned Brandon Ingram being like Kobe, not necessarily as Kobe, the number 24, but maybe more so Kobe as a number 8, where he was, behind Shaq, but he was still up and coming superstar in the league.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I can see that comparison.
You give us number 6.
Number 6 is Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell, yeah, a guy that we just did a PPF video on. If you haven't seen that, check that out in our past, present, future section of our YouTube videos on KISH space YZ. But yeah, this is a guy that I have down as he could be a pound for pound type of player or scorer. And in a comparison, I'm comparing him, in case I didn't do it on the PPF, with like an Allen Iverson-esque type of game, as far as he's not very big for his size, and as far as him playing shooting guard, which is his primary position. I think they maybe list him at 6'1" or something like that, maybe 6'2", but he's, a lot of people say he's about 6 feet. So he might be listed at, somewhere, like I said, between 6'1", 6'2", but apparently he's not a very big guard, as you might think, playing the shooting guard role in the traditional sense in the modern NBA here. But this guy gets it done. And with the comments that Shaq made this season, with him, feeling like he can't be the leader of a team or carry a team or be an all-star, superstar type of caliber player consistently, like this guy, yeah, that's definitely going to motivate him, and he's definitely got the Jazz in the right spot. But the disrespect of the Jazz getting selected last between him and Rudy Gobert in the All-Star draft is enough right there to prove how underrated Donovan Mitchell is.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna go back to that. I've never seen a team performing so well, first in the whole NBA that get just overlooked so much as the Utah Jazz have been this year. Yeah, like you touched on the All-Star draft was the main point of that about him and Gobert were the last ones picked. It's just crazy to me. I mean, they're first for a reason. And while Mitchell, he doesn't he's been balling, but like why he's not like a Steph Curry or like a James Harden or one of those type of guys. I mean, he reminds me of what I said about Bam. He just comes in and does his job. Like every night his stats aren't going to go crazy, but I mean he does what he needs to do. I mean he's averaging 26 points a game. So I mean he's balling. He's just one of them guys that I just don't think you hear too much about. He's quiet. I don't think he really makes a scene ever. And Utah against not a big market like some of these other teams. And I really like what Mitchell brings to the table. Um, I think he can be a leader and can carry a team. And we're going to see when it comes to playoff, what they can do in the postseason. And I'm excited to see that.
Like you said, you don't hear much about these guys, like you said, being compared to Curry or things like that. But a lot of these guys, or all of these guys we just mentioned in this bottom 5 of this list, basically, being underrated, they're also very young and not really in their prime. So this can also be a list of up and coming. But, we decided to do it as underrated because there should be more appreciation for what these guys are doing or have done, because they are getting better. And if you don't know about them, you should know about them. And they definitely have more to show.
Yeah, agreed.
And like you said, Donovan Mitchell definitely belongs on this list. We have him at number 6. So we're going to take a brief intermission and we're going to finish this up with the second part of this video with the top 5 underrated players. And once again, shout out to Donovan Mitchell at number 6. Shout out to the Utah Jazz fans, because we got you coming back in the second half of our video. Shout out to Salt Lake City. Shout out to our boy, Dijon the All-Star, bro. You still bumping that song?
Yeah, I listen to him.
Yeah, the way I cook up, how I cook up. Sorry, my bad, bro. How I cook up, man. I still listen to that song too. So if y'all haven't checked that out, definitely check that out on YouTube. He's up and coming, and yeah, we just wanted to shout him out because he's always shouting us out. I feel like we go way back, and it hasn't even been a week yet, bro. What do you feel like, you?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff happened in a couple of days. We became like tight with a guy in Utah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fly out there and meet you at some point, bro. So yeah, keep up the good work, and we'll keep shouting you out, fam. For everybody, stay tuned and catch our next video on part 2 of underrated players in the league as of right now. Peace. Love.